Okay, all the LIS data sources, provides a delta mechanism, and we need to know about what is this initialization and delta mechanism for the LIS extraction. Okay, so next point is this one. Let's try to cover this also quickly. Initialization. In order to know this, about this initialization, so what I am going to do is my VITM, the base data coming for this VITM is, I will go to S11 VB, okay, display header data, VBAP. Okay, so VBAP table is a table where it is sales document item data will be available. So for my sales item data, 83 records are there. Just a second. Now how to proceed now? Yeah, so now generally when we use ODP connection, what we do using ODP connection means we always load data into BW using direct ODP specific DTPs. It means we need to create one ADSO in our BW system and then create transformation from this data source into our BW target, and then we extract data using DTP. So I will show you now, in order not to waste our time here. So what I will do is, already in my system there is a target created on sales item. Okay, so let me go there and show you. So in my trainings, under SR trainings, yeah, you see, so there is a data DSO created for this 12S11 VITM. I will tell you about this DSO in our next session. So this DSO follows field-based mechanism. I told you when we create providers in BW, we can create providers two ways. One is info object based modeling, other one is field based modeling. Okay, so far in our earlier sessions, we always learned info object based modeling, which is base for the BW. Now, but this particular ADSO was created using field based mechanism. Okay, this one we not yet covered, so I will cover this topic in our next session. But at this point of time, just consider you have a DSO available and you have a transformation also created between this 2LS VITM, into your DSO. You know about transformation, how to create it also. Okay, and on top of it, you have already a DTP also created to extract data from R3 into BW. So when extracting data from R3 to BW, we know we can extract it from PSA or we can extract using directly from the source system. So because this is our connection, this data source is ODP enabled, then it means we can bypass the PSA and can extract data into BW using this ODP functionality, operational data provisioning tool. Okay, so you see that adapter extraction from SAP system by operational data provisioning. Okay, so what it means, we can create this DTP, and currently let me see, is there any data available in my ADSO as of now or not. Let me check. I am copying my ADSO here. I am going to my BW system. I'm going to a T code called RSMNG, where I can get the regular manage of ADSO. You see there is no data here. Yeah, there are requests are there. Yeah, there are some requests are there. So what I will do is I will delete the data. So go to utilities, delete content. So it means I'm completely dropping data from this target. Okay, so now next what? So what I will do is, now I'm going to execute my DTP. So when I execute my DTP, what happens? This is the important. Okay, so this is the important topic to be identified. So now I have my LIS extractor in BW and I have my target ready and I created my DTP, and my DTP follows delta mechanism. Now I am trying to execute my DTP. Okay, so what happens if I execute my DTP here? Let's see how many records it is going to fetch from R3 to BW. It is fetching only 20 records. Okay, so it is fetching only 20 records from R3 to BW. So why it is fetching only 20 records? If I go to my R3 system, if I go to my /n RSA3 and I give my VITM data source here, I'm giving some 9000 here, one data packet extraction. You see 20 records came, so 20 records, it's the same 20 records, it is bringing into BW. If I go to ALV grid display, here I can see the document numbers which it is extracted. Where is the sales document number here? Yeah, this is the sales document number 1 to 13. Okay, but if I go to my table, backend table, which is VBAP, which is sales document item data. You see in my sales document item data, I have more than 20, document numbers. My document numbers are not 1 to 13. It is having other document numbers also. Yeah. So my BPAP table is having document numbers more than 20. Okay, but to my BW, I got data only 13 document numbers are only coming to my BW. So what may be the reason? Okay, we don't know the reason. But our expectation is when we try to extract data into BW for the first time, our expectation is it must bring all the data into BW. Whichever is available on ECC base tables, it must bring whole data to BW when I run the initial delta here. But for LO extraction, it is not the case. Okay, for FI data sources, if you execute the delta first time, it will, it consider it as a delta init, means initialization. What exactly initialization means? Delta initialization always extracts whole data from R3 into BW. If it is 1 year data, 1 day data, or 100 days data, it doesn't matter. Whatever data available in your source table, it has to fetch each and every record into BW without missing. Okay, that is the functionality of delta init. But for LO extraction, it won't happen. In order to bring historical data into LO extraction, we must fill the setup tables. So what it is called setup table concept. Okay, setup tables. So if you fill setup tables, after filling setup tables, you must run a full info package. Okay, full info package, and then what happens by using setup tables, you are going to fill the historical data into some of the tables. SAP designed few tables for logistics at each component level, means 11, 2, 3, 4, 5 components are there, right? For each component, SAP designed few tables called setup tables. When you run the setup tables mechanism, it will fill these tables with the historical data information. Okay, so when you execute full info package for this LO extraction data sources, full info package, instead of extracting data from the base tables, it will extract data from the setup tables. So that is the mechanism how SAP designed here. Okay, so what exactly happening here? SAP designed few setup tables for LO extraction. So these are called setup tables. And there are some tables called base tables. For example, in our case, consider VBAP is the base table. So this particular data source 2LS 11 VATM, 2LS 11 VATM. The base table for this data source is this table. What is VBAP? So whenever you extract data using this data source, the regular way of extracting is always follows from this table into your data source. It has to extract always from this one. But this extraction happens only if you run the delta info package. It means not exactly directly from the table, it is something else between. Okay, I will tell you that also. Delta. If you bring data, if you do delta extraction, then only system will extract data from this VBAP table into your BW. But if you execute a full info package for this data source, full info package always extracts data from the setup tables, not the regular table. Okay. So this you must understand clearly. If you execute full info package, system always try to bring data from this setup tables. So why it is bringing 20 records now? Because the setup tables currently contains only 20 records. For that reason, SAP is fetching only 20 records now. Okay, even though this VBAP base table contains more number of records, system is fetching only 20 records from the setup tables. Okay, so next, what next? When I say delta, delta also not directly fetching data from the VBAP table. Okay, intermediately there is a mechanism called LBW, LB logistic queues, logistics queue. Okay, queue. So the T code where we can see this queue is nothing but it is LBW queue. There is a T code called LBW queue. When you execute delta extraction, it extracts the data which is captured under LBW queue, and then the records which are captured under LBW queue, and then move it to the RSA7. It is for older systems RS7. Other one is ODP queues. So if you want to learn more about this ODP functionality channel, if you go to the playlist of BW support videos, you can find two videos, data extraction using ODP from ECC to BW, and these two are there, right? If you go through these two videos, you will try clearly understand what is this ODP mechanism, what are these ODP queues and all. I given in detail with example explanation on these two videos. Go through it. But in our today's session, I'm not going in that much detail because it already taken too much time. Okay, so when all the delta extraction happened via this ODP queues, okay, or RSA7 in our traditional old systems. Okay, so and the data comes to this RSA7 or ODP queue is from the LBW queue. Okay, and then so for full it is coming from setup tables. So first we need to learn about this one, how exactly this LBW queue works, and then we will go for the setup table concept. Okay, so in our last session, so what we discussed is we checked how to enable any LIS data source. Okay, so for example, LO data source, not LO data source we call it as. So if you want to activate any LO data source, how we are supposed to activate it, we checked that one. Like just a quick recap, we go to RSA6 and we check whether this is already in active state or not. If not, we go to RSA5 and activate it. Then it will come to RSA6. And then what we need to do after coming to RSA6, then we go to LBWE. In the LBWE, we go to our required data source and we click on this activate symbol, because by default the data source will be in inactive state. We need to activate it. So once after activating it, then you can go to RSA3 for the verification whether your data source is working correctly or not. But when you go to RSA3 and try to extract any data from it, by default it won't show any data, because LO data sources doesn't fetch data automatically, because in order to get data for any LIS data source, we need to fill setup tables. Okay, for normal data sources, it means like finance data sources and master data sources, there is no concept called setup tables filling. Only for the LO data sources, we have this setup table concept. Okay, and if you execute a full info package or full, if it is ODP, full ODP for any 2LS data source, then it always fetches data. For example, if you come to RSA3 and try to extract data for any data source, by default, the extraction mode what you are running is nothing but a full load, full extraction. Okay, so that's why when you try to extract data for any LIS data source, 90% it may not bring any data if you didn't fill the setup tables earlier. Okay, so if it is not fetching any data, don't consider it is not working properly. But you have to do some initialization, setup tables and all. So the first concept what we are going to cover is how to fill setup tables. Okay, so now how to fill setup tables for a LIS data source. To fill setup tables of any LIS data source, we need to follow some sequence of steps. Okay, so what is this one? For example, if I go to this my RSA3 and trying to extract some data, it is fetching them some data. So if it is fetching some data, so from where exactly it is fetching this 20 records, it is fetching this 20 records from the setup tables. Okay. So you see if setup tables only. Currency translation, not this one. So 11, right? So it's not. Something it starts with 11 now. Just a second, let me check. Forgot this one. 454 hits. When I say set a table, definitely in the backend, it is kind of table only. So we get to know what is that table name, set a table name for each. So it ends with 11 and it starts with, let me quickly check. I checked it very long back. I forgot this one. V. Not this one. Star. Shadow table stock order. Okay, I'm not getting, but I will let you know later. Part also not a big deal. So next thing is what I said. We are going to learn how to fill setup tables for 2LS11 VATM. So in order to fill setup tables for 2LS11 VATM, we need to follow a set of process. So what is that one? First, you need to clear the setup tables. Okay, then fill the setup tables. So this is two processes. Okay, that's why we have only two steps. So how to clear the setup tables? In order to fill the setup table, clear the setup tables, we need to go to transaction code called LBWG. Okay, so currently, filling setup tables means for each component. In a last class, I told you 02, 03, 04, these are all nothing but component numbers. Now, for example, our requirement is to fill the setup tables for 11 component. Before filling the setup tables for 11 component, what we need to do, we need to go to LBWG /n LBWG. It's a deletion of setup data. So for the 11 component, first delete the data. So deleting means you are not deleting the data from the base tables. You are deleting the data from the setup table. I told you, right? There will be a setup table at the back end. So you are deleting the data from the back end. So from the back end setup tables. Okay. Um, so I'm not getting that selectable if it is like, yeah, you see MC11, you see MC11V0 ITM setup, MC11V, these are all nothing but setup tables, which is BW, the organization store for LIS11. Okay, for example, our requirement is to bring data for this 2LS11 VATM. Then the setup tables for 2LS11 VATM is this one MC11 VA0 ITM setup. Okay, and if I go now here, because I already deleted data, so you don't see any data. And if you want, if you go to try to see data from this table, you cannot understand it, because you see the data will be stored in a different format, not in a regular format. Okay, let's keep this session open. We get to know next. So our first step is to delete the data from the setup tables LBWGT code for the required component completed. Then fill the setup tables. Now how to fill the setup tables? We have multiple, means two ways are there. One is we can remember, okay, we can by heart the transaction code to fill setup tables for each component. There will be separate T codes for each component to fill the setup tables. Or if we are not able to by heart it, then there is a transaction code called SBIW. Okay, SBIW. If you go here, then here you need to remember the drill down. So you need to come to this data sources PI, and after that you need to come to this logistics, because this is LO means logistics, and then from you need to remember only this one and this one. After that, just simply expanding the first node, managing extract structure, and after this only this is the expanded node. And after initialization, this is only the expandable node, filling setup tables, and after that this one. That's it. So here you can see the required option. So what is this 2LS11 data source? 2LS11 is nothing but SD sales BW. Okay, so you see SD sales. So we are going to fill this part. We are going to execute this particular symbol. There is an execute button, right? Click on this execute button. Okay, so statistical select from old documents orders. Okay, so if I go to here and check the T code, so what is the T code here? OLI7BW. So in order to fill this 11 components data, we need to click on this OLI7BW transaction code. You can come to this particular one via this navigation, or simply /o OLI7BW. This also, using this also you can come to the same transaction code. Okay, same screen you can come. Now, so we are at the screen of filling setup tables for this 2LS11. Next, it is also very important point to remember how to fill, what to fill here. Okay, so there are two things are there. If you wish to fill setup tables with all the historical data till today from the starting day of the business, then don't provide any selection on the first part, archiving, sales, organization, company code, SD document. You don't provide any selection. Only the important part here is to fill this one. Okay, but the problem is if your business in your system, the data in the base tables is minimal. Okay, for example 1 million records, 2 million records, then it is okay. You can simply run the setup tables without providing any selection to these ones. But if your historical data, for example, you have data from 2001 or 2000, means almost 10 years data you are having in your base tables. Then filling setup tables for 10 years with the it is very difficult. Not difficult means in sense it will take a lot of time for the filling. Okay, the job, there will be a job created for this setup tables filling, and this will run a very longer time if you fill for 10 years at a time. Okay, in such cases, if you have a requirement to fill 10 years, generally we don't need it. Or generally what they will ask to fill only last 5 years, 1 year, 2 years, like that. Okay, in such cases, either you need to provide some condition on the sales arc company code SD document means selectively you need to fill your setup tables. Okay, for example, in your data set, if you have 5 company codes, then fill setup tables for each company code once. First fill for one company code. After completing of that company code, then fill for second company code. In that way, you are trying to fill setup tables for 10 years, but not all at a one time. We are going to split that filling. Or else if you know the document range, you can provide the document number range also here, like our sales organization, like that you can give. Okay, so this part is optional. Based upon the data in your base tables, you are going to provide, decide whether to fill it for all data or going to fill it for only selective data. And the second part is control of the setup table run. So this is mandatory. This is you need to remember. Here, name of the run is one of the mandatory selection. You see this tick mark, it means mandatory selection. So you can provide any of the name to LS7. Any, you can provide your whatever you wish, the name. You are going to provide a name for this run. Okay, so I am giving 2ls underscore 11. And then termination date. So this is important. What is exactly this termination date? When I execute now this particular job, then it is going to run in the background because I'm going to execute this job in the background. Okay. Now, when exactly you wish to terminate this run, it is asking. That's for that reason, it is mandatory to always provide this date a future date. Okay, not the current or next 10-15 minutes, because the job which it is going to create, we don't know how much time it will run, because the job what it will do exactly, the background job which it will create is trying to fetch data from the base tables and filling your setup tables. So the duration of the job will decide on the how much data is there in the base tables. So since we don't know when it will finish, it is mandatory to always provide the date a future date. If you give tomorrow also, it is not too correct. Better to give a 1 month range. Okay, so 0809. So I'm giving a month of time for this job to execute. Really doesn't need that much time, but for safer side, it is good. Okay, termination date must be always future date. Time, it's okay, whatever time it is. Then after giving these two information, name and the termination date, and based upon your requirement, the selection, then go to program, execute in background. Then output device, one of the standard output device is LP01. Okay, give this one, click on enter, click on enter, click on OK, and click on immediate, check, save. You see below, background job was scheduled for program RMCV. Remember, RMCV is the job name /o SM37. Any setup tables filling, by default, it will create a job with the name RM. Okay. Let's see any jobs are in active state. This is different one. I'm removing this username also and clicking on execute. I think it's already, finished. So this is the one. Oh, cancelled. Why? So RMCVNEUA, this is the job which is created for this purpose. Okay. It is cancelled by more faulty documents found that can tolerate 000. Error determining statistics tables, no updating. Start of auto processing. So there is problem. There is some problem in filling the data. That's why you are facing this kind of issue. Okay, more faulty documents found that then the tolerated. So there is some problem with the selectors filling. So it is a failed. So what we do, we will try to execute it one more time. Okay, let's hope for the best. /n LBWE, sorry, SBIW. Let's see, before it encountering something, is it able to extract any data here or not? You see 20 records are coming. It means after filling 20 records, system encountered some wrong record, then it got failed. So earlier, since we deleted the data, we have 0 records here. Now if I go to my serve tables, click on execute, you see some records are 13 records are there in the set. Earlier I did all the it doesn't have any data, but now it is having 13 records. How these 13 records came? Because of filling select tables, now this data came into picture. So you cannot able to understand what exactly this record is, but when you go to RSA3 and try to extract data, this will fetch data from those tables only. You see, you can see the data properly. Okay, so how to fill thread tables? We need to go to SBIW and then PI and then logistics. From here, first one, and we don't need to remember from here because always expanding this one. Okay, in the interview sessions also, you know, they may ask, because LIS extraction is one of the important extraction, they may ask for the T codes for the thread tables filling. Okay, so you don't need to by heart and tell them for each and every component. You can tell them, I will always go to SBIW and then PI node and then logistics, and from there I will expand to this my correct proper one. Okay, so then they will get to know you know how to fill thread tables. Okay, no need to do by heart, but if it is okay, you can by heart it. Okay, so this is how to fill thread tables. So once after filling thread tables, so what next we do? We will replicate this data source to BW and create data flow on top of it. So this is all about, you know, an LO extraction, how to bring a ECC data source, you know, LIS data source from R3 into our BW system. Okay, so I'm not showing, you know, how to replicate it to BW and how to load it because you already know it. So this is the main thing. So next part, what I need to tell you. So as so far I told you how to do a full info package, how to execute for full one. And what about delta? Delta mechanism you need to learn. Okay, because so when coming to in production system, when you freshly bringing any LIS data source into BW, what you will do, you will bring the data source into BW, means replicate the data source to BW. After that, after replicating, you need to create DTP and do initialization. So for that, what I need to do is I need to go to BW system. RS7. If I go to my SAP ODP data sources, I have 2LS11 VAKON. So let me check if I have any data for this 2LS11 VAKON or VITM. Let's go not VAKON. Let's go for VITM only. Okay. So this is my data source. So for this data source, what I'm going to do, I'm going to execute an initialization. Okay, so I think if I go to scheduler, initialization options for source system, there is already one initialization there, so I'm deleting it because I want to show it freshly for you. Okay, so I am creating an info package. I'm going to update tab. I am doing initialization, and then but generally best option for you is, you know, don't do initialization in the BW, always do initialization without data transfer. Okay, once you extracted this data source into BW, do the initialization without data transfer and go to schedule and then click on start. When you do this one, what happens? It doesn't fetch any data from the source system, but it initializes to your delta mechanism. What is this initialization? This initialization is nothing but, you know, it is creating a pointer to, you know, it creating a pointer to check for any new records or delta or change records. Okay, so what exactly it means? So once the initialization was successful, then 1 minute, still running. It's still running. Initialization delta simulation. It is still running. It has to come into it. So what happens whenever it turns to green, then initialization will be successful. What is this initialization? Initialization means next time when you execute delta info package, it will fetch only the delta records. What is this delta records means? In if I go to this LIS BW, there is for LI data sources, there is a concept called LBW queue. Okay, it's a T code LBW queue. So what is this T code? /n LBW queue. So this T code is nothing but queue RFC monitor of outbound queues. So in this particular queue, what system will do? System will check the delta records. If any delta postings happened, system will do checks here. Okay, so what exactly it means, I will let you know. So now what I will do is in order to make it more clear, I will go to VA02. Okay, what is VA02? Change to any sales document number. Now I am opening any one of the document number. Okay, I am opening 9 document number. In the 9 document number, you see there is a quantity called 3. Okay, so order quantity 3. Now I am changing it to 4. Okay, and then I am trying to save this one. So just click on OK. Continue. We never do this thing manually. Okay, for example, I'm doing like how what is changed and all. So now what happened? This particular order document was changed. Okay, from 3 to 4. So there is a change happened to the document number. Any changes or any new document created, then all these kind of changes will be captured in LBW queue. Okay, you see, on the earlier in the LBW queue, you don't have anything, but you see there is a component MCX11. 11 means our sales data. There is one entry in that whatever change we did, now it got captured here. So if you go to here and click on display, you see 11, double click here, you see there is an update happened. Okay, some record, some transaction got recorded. Okay, you cannot see the exact record here, I think, but you know you can update. There is some update happened to the backend data. So whatever transaction happened, that record changes got updated here. So how to, so this is LBW queue, and there will be a job which clears this LBW queue and brings data into delta queue. Okay, so /y-sc38. What we do is, in order to clear this, not like this. So you have data in this LBW queue. Now from here, it has to move to our delta queue, because whenever we execute our delta info package, our delta info package doesn't fetch data from the LBW queue. From this place, it has to move our delta queue place. Okay, so what is that place? How it will come? If you go to your LBWE transaction code /n LBWE, we will schedule a job for LIS level, all the LIS data sources which we are using, we have to schedule a job. Okay, go to job control, start date, immediate. I'm not scheduling it, I'm immediately running it. Okay, immediate, check, save, and print parameters. I'm giving LP01. Click on OK, 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 and schedule job. That's it. It means it is not a recurring job, but one time scheduled. Whenever it happened, now if I go and refresh here, you see entry gone. Because of scheduling that job, this entry got cleared now. Now if I go to my, BW, what happened is this info package completed. It's still running, something wrong. Okay, but I can show you here from RSA3. If I go to slash in RSA3, and instead of full, if I given D here, delta, when I give delta, I need to provide some source system. There is a problem. I think here I won't find my source system name. Here I cannot find it. I think I need to run it from here only, but my info package is not working properly. What happened? Still running. I don't know what happened here. So I'm manually, because it is getting late, I'm doing it like this. Don't do never like this. Okay, go to update mode, go to delta mode, schedule, start. You see, for my delta record, I got 2 records. So if I go and see what is these 2 records, I can see my 9th document number came here. So my 9th document number came with 2 records came. One is with X indicator, change indicator. So here if I go to the quantity of it, where is the quantity for this one? You see 3 requested. Yes, order quantity. Earlier the order quantity was 3. So what happened here? It is -3 came, means this is the changed quantity and this is the new quantity. 2 records came. It means this particular data source captured the changes happened into my data and provided to BW. Okay, so this is how the delta mechanism works. Okay, so for all the LS data sources, we must understand this, how it is happening. So what is happening here? We went to LWB Queue. We see some request is there, some data captured here, and then from there we cleared the queue and it went to regular RSA7 queue. And from here, by executing the delta info package, the 2 records we extracted from here into our BW, and the extracted BW data contains these 2 information. Okay. So this is how delta mechanism works for the LIS data sources. So full always fetches data from the set tables, and delta always fetches data from the logistics queue. Okay, that is nothing but RSA7 or ODP queues. Okay, from which is nothing but where which stores in the LBW queue information. Okay, so this is all about LO data sources. So I take an example for only 2LS11, but it is same for remaining all data sources also. Okay, so now in the last session and today's session, we covered complete understanding of how to extract data from 2LS11 into BW. Okay, I am pausing recording.